Money with Santosh Sirur.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Sound of Money with me, Santosh Sirur. We're 9 episodes old, and on this episode, we're going to talk about financial literacy and continuing our conversations with Meeta Gupta, who joins us from Dubai. And as we all know, she's the founder of Moola, and Moola is really kicking space, and really it's shaping up on a different level and forum. If you've been associated with Moola through different social media platforms, so we'll also get to know a little more about that from Meeta. So hi Meeta, welcome back on The Sound of Money.
Thank you so much, Santosh, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, Meeta. So we have been speaking about savings, right? And then we also spoke about what is the importance of wealth in our previous episode. Today, as we all know, we're going to talk about risk. And when I say risk, it's about, do we know what kind of risk we are taking in by investing into some kind of a financial product? And to know more about that, that's exactly why we have Meeta here. So Meeta, what according to you is risk?
Yes, Santosh. So you know what? I was just doing a Google search on the dictionary definition of risk. And what I read was what it says is, and I'm quoting it, I have it written here. It says risk is a situation involving exposure to danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, right. So wherever you feel, it's like a human response to danger that you feel. Whenever you feel there's danger, there's risk, you rise up to an occasion.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why different people perceive risk differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if I can, I would think there are about 4 ways in which, I can say that why people perceive risk differently. The first being that knowledge, right? So if I am more aware, or I have more knowledge about a certain thing, my perception of risk will be different from your perception of risk. Example, think of a lion trainer. When he goes to a lion, he's not so scared, right? His perception of that risk is different from me, who goes and stands in front of a lion. I actually remember going to a safari and this lion coming right next to me, and I was freezing in my pants. I said and that ranger was also there, right? He was driving the car, and he was like, don't worry, it's okay. So the perception of risk depends on how knowledgeable you are about whatever either is the product or whatever that situation is all about. The second thing, I think it really depends on your fear factor. Some people are more daring, some people are more, they like to do new things, they like to take risks, and they like to, kind of adapt themselves to the kind of risks that are there. Some are more risk averse. They don't like it, right? They're scared, they don't have that adrenaline rush in them. So that's the second factor. The third, if I can think, would be your own sensory, and your genetic makeup. So like if I'm getting older, I'll be more fearful. My risk perception is going to be different as compared to a young person. And that, determines what kind of products you'll invest in or what kind of risk you're going to be willing to take. And the fourth thing, and I think, is your own personal and life experiences.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very important thing. Because if I come from a poor background, right, my perception of risk will be very different from a person who comes from a wealthy background. He's going to be able to take far different, the kind of risks that he would assume would be very different, I think, from a person who comes from a background either who's conservative or people who are poor or not such wealthy means. So I think those are factors which really determine the kind of perception we have of risk.
Yeah. So when it comes to financial product and the risk associated or related to it, what kind of care should one take? Because typically, right, when you talk of mutual funds investments or any products, PMS, any alternative funds, a lot depends on the way the relationship manager or the financial consultant puts it across to the client. And that's where exactly the problem lies. Unless you have a guy who is really knowing the customer very well, knows the risk, the risk levels or whatever that I would call it, suitability of that client, one can be taken for a joyride. So what are your views on this?
Totally, Santosh, and that's where the thing is. That's why you need to be first of all aware of what your, you know, what your endurance of risk is. And before that, probably I'll want to also say that there are certain things which are key principles about risk, right? Which I think everybody knows in some which way, but it's always good to define, because once you define it, kind of opens up the threads, like I talk about to people, that certain things are there in your mind, but if you spell it out, it opens it for you.
Yeah.
So something for first principle, I'll say something which is more certain is less riskier as something which is less certain. So if I know that my money is going to keep coming on time, or it's going to come at this periodicity, and this is the amount I'm going to get, you feel it's less riskier as compared to something where you don't know, it's not certain. Then something which is shorter term, right? Something which is going to happen to me, come to me closer to date, is less riskier as something which is going to come to me further ahead in time, right? So if there's a time factor involved, if there's something which I'm going to get 10, if I'm going to get money, it's like a bird in hand is better than two in a bush, right? If I'm getting money today, I'd rather be happy, I'll be more happy than something which I'm going to get 10 years from now or 15 years from now. So that is the second thing, which is like a principle which one should look at.
Yeah.
The third thing I would say is something which is more established is less riskier as something which is less established. So like if I'm investing in a startup, or I'm investing in a blue chip company, what would be less riskier? A blue chip company, right? Because that's more established, there is a presence there in the market, they have proved themselves, there are credentials that you can look at, and all those things kind of help a person feel that he is in a less risky position as compared to something else. But I was just reading, there was this book I was just reading called Psychology of Money, and very recently I was reading it, and this guy says about that risk and luck are two things that no one has control of.
True.
Right? So it's so true, because you can say that it's something's not risky at all, and still you can get burnt very badly. And then there is this person who's like taking really high level risk, and he's like going all out, and he kind of sails through because luck is in his favor or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, from on one side you can, and if you start seeing stories where people have gone through a really risky venture and made a lot of money, it kind of makes you get motivated that even I should do that, right? And that's what even these relationship managers do. They'll give you one interesting story. See, this one made so much money. Oh, this one fell into such a bad trap. Don't do this. Don't do this. And like human beings, are so emotional. They'll say, yeah, I mean, I must also do that, or I mustn't do that. So, and that's where it's extremely important for you to know what you want.
True.
What kind of a person are you, right? What do you believe in?
Yeah. So yes. So as you rightly put, risk, yes, important, but luck by chance, ho sakta hai, possible. You're lucky or unlucky all the way. But I wanted to know from you is that when you say risk assessment of an individual, one should really, I mean, we have typically come across risk assessment questionnaires, right? You have those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, accordingly, yes, no, agree, disagree, etc., and you end up in a certain score, right?
Yes.
Having said that, individually, one person decides on risk. What are the key factors one should consider before investing in any product?
So, like I said, that there are certain principles or there are certain strategies that one can look at, right? When you're going to invest, and you as a person needs to know whether you're a safe investor or a risky investor. Right? Who is a safe investor? A safe investor is a person who probably likes fixed returns. Actually, it's not that. Everybody wants money. At the end of it, bottom line is that everybody wants the best thing. Everybody wants money with the least risk. If I can get, I can multiply my wealth with least risk, why would I not want to?
Agree. Yeah.
But we have to understand that risk and return go hand in hand. Generally, again, luck by chance, of course, but risk and return go hand in hand. So anything which is more risky, the chances of you getting a return in it are also high, but the chances of you losing your principal is equally high. Right? And something which is again, something which is what did I say? It's less risky. So something which is more risky, of course, you'll get more returns, you'll lose your principal. And if something is less risky, the chances of you are getting money out of it are also probably lesser, right?
Yeah, true.
So having said that, what are the things that one should look at when you're saying that, how do you define risk? How do you say that, what are the factors one should look at? So something like, let's assume equity and debt. What is more risky? What do you think is more risky? Of course, equity is more risky.
Yeah.
Right? Why is equity more risky? Equity is more risky because it's uncertain. You do not know that when you are taking a part of the profit, as well as you could, there could be loss in that company, whereas in a debt, you will get your money back. So understanding of an instrument becomes an extremely important factor for anybody to understand whether he should invest in it or he should not invest in it. So if I don't know the difference between equity and debt, if I don't know the difference between what is a large cap, a mid cap, a small cap, a startup, if I don't know these, so if there is no knowledge backing your investment decisions, you can go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. The second thing, you need to know the windows that you want to look at. Are you looking at something which is liquid or not liquid? If I'm looking at a real estate investment and tomorrow I need my money out and I can't get my money out because it's like risky or not risky, is also a perception of whether when I need something back, can I get it back? So if I need my money back tomorrow, I can't get my money back in that real estate asset. So for me, it becomes more risky, right? But for somebody who's looking for a longer term gain and he's looking that I have enough money, I don't need to really have liquidity. For him, a real estate asset is not a risky asset because he's like, his perception, what he wants out of that asset is not that. So one important factor in this whole thing is to know what do you want out of that asset. Do you want to keep it for long term? Do you want to keep it for short term? Do you need it for your retirement planning, that asset? Do you need it for your kids' education? So every factor. So risk is a very broad term. It's like saying that, do I find crossing the road risky? We all have to keep crossing the road, right? Yeah, but crossing the road can be risky for everybody, depending on whether you just walk across the road or you look right, look left. Are you sure that this is what I want to do? Do I want to cross? Yes, I want to. I have to go on that side, so I must cross the road. But if I look, I'm reasonably sure that I should be able to cross the road and the risks are going to be minimal.
True.
Right? So it's just that. So you need to know where you want to land.
Yeah. Agreed.
Once you know where you want to land and you are watchful of what you're looking at around you, then you can manage your risk. So risk can be definitely managed. And there's a saying which says that a boat is safest at the shore, but that's not where it's meant to be.
Yeah, you got to venture out, take a risk.
Right. So you have to, your boat has to go in the deep seas, but you should know how to manage that boat. You should have a good driver. You should have all your safety controls in place, and then venture out.
Yeah. So as you rightly said, you should decide when to land and where to land. So your destination is very important. So do you think your risk assessment is all about your goal, your objectives, what you want to achieve in life? Marriage, children's education, retirement, etc., etc.
I would put it a little differently. Objective is important, destination is important, but you can reach the destination in two ways, right? It's like if you want to climb a mountain, you can take steps, right, which will make you reach faster, but your knees will hurt or whatever. Like being an old lady, I can say my knees would hurt more if I go up the steps. And then there's a longer path, which is slower, which is steadier, which will make you reach, but it'll take you a little more time. Right. And then that's your choice. That the destination is important, but the way to reach it is also important. And that's where your comfort lies. How comfortable are you with that situation of reaching that destination and which path you should take?
True. So my last question on this topic is, so how do I actually decide where do I invest my money?
So I think it's just a question of what we've just talked about. You should know where you should land. And then you should know which path you should take. And to decide which path you should take, you should know whether you're a safe, first know about yourself, whether you're a safe investor or you're a risky investor. So if I'm a risky investor, then I need to know that which are the products which I can use. And very important is also to know the risk associated with it. I can't just say that, oh, equity is more risky than debt. Why is equity more risky than debt? Do I think it's as risky? Within equity, are there various things where I can still mitigate my risk, so I can benefit a little from the riskiness of the equity, but I'm kind of covering myself good enough to say, okay, I'm investing in a large cap, or I'm investing for a longer term, or I'm putting my money in an ETF. So there are ways to or I'm putting it in a mutual fund. So I am benefiting from that product, but at the same time, I'm mitigating my risk. So it's important to understand and go from a position of knowledge. Once you go from a position of knowledge, you are the best person who decides which product you should take and which product suits you.
Yeah, true,
And
true,
that's-
absolutely. Let's talk about Moola. I mean, it started off on a very a small journey. You know, you never thought it would, and I remember you telling us
you are
about it on
really
your
right.
first episode. And now, well, quite a few months down the line, I see your Moola is taking shape. It's all set to fly. Can you share a little more about Moola, the Financial Literacy Forum?
Absolutely, Santosh, and it's a pleasure to talk about it. You know, the thing is, when I really started Moola, it came out of passion. I didn't know, like I told you, I didn't know whether I'll have 5 women join it or not, and what am I going to write about it. From there, we've really moved on, and I'm going to complete 1 year on the 1st of July, and it's like just a month away from now. And it makes me feel happy because we are currently about 800 girls who have either been through the Moola, the initial program, and some more, of course, and there are people joining in every day. So the community is increasing. We now have a team in place. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to increase the product range. So say that it's not just about literacy, but we're going to do an A to Z of, so kind of handhold the person, not only to teach him what, or, to guide him to knowledge, but also what do you want to do with that knowledge? What do you want to, achieve at the end of it? Because at the end of it, learning is kind of strengthened when you know where to use it and how to use it. Right. So we want to be the people to help our girls to also see what they want to do with their money. Do they want to invest it? Do they want to, pay taxes? Do they only want to teach their children? So people could have, again, different objectives out of this, and they could also have multiple objectives. So understand what they want, guide them to it, and let people feel it's a safe haven for them to take decisions, to ask questions. And the people, the so-called relationship managers, or who have an agenda at the end of it, don't kind of come as a hawk and pounce on people who are gullible and who don't understand. Again, so the idea of Moola, like I said, is position of strength, knowledge, understanding, and then informed decision making, and then lead them end to end to that decision making post. So okay, you want to achieve that objective, we will help you achieve the objective.
Absolutely fantastic initiative, Meeta, and all the very best to you and your your group of women who come together and taking it on a different level. All the very best to you. And yes, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you so much, Meeta, once again. Glad to have you. Pleasure to have you always on our show on The Sound of Money. We get to know in tidbits, financial literacy, what is it all about? And we step ahead in our life. And I'm sure our listeners, our subscribers on this YouTube channel get to know a lot more. So thank you once again for joining us on The Sound of Money.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you so much, Santosh.
Well, and that's it. We're almost the end of this episode of The Sound of Money. And just to let you know that we have also another YouTube channel, which is Talk Right Today, which is personal enhancement coaching session. Basically, we have I have teamed up with my friend Mayur. Mayur is from Pune, and Mayur Kalbag and I have come up together with a lot of series of soft skill sessions. I would love you to guys go on YouTube, this channel that is Talk Right Today, subscribe to the channel and get to know a lot more about what do we intend to in the coming weeks and months. So that's Talk Right Today. And well, that's it from me. Wishing you all very stay safe, and of course, all the very best in your day-to-day outcomes of a fantastic journey ahead in your careers. From me, Santosh Sirur and Meeta Gupta, thank you once again.
Sound of Money with Santosh Sirur.